Hi guys, this is Mauro. I want to talk about the two different slices. The more defensive slice, which is kind of the Eastern slice, let's say, which is more like the Nadal type of slice that goes on bevel number 3, which is pretty much the bevel right on the side of the racket, and the racket ends up a little too open, and the other slice, which is more, let's say, on the continental probably, or Eastern backhand on bevel 1, probably somewhere on top of the racket, which is a little more aggressive slice, more probably Federer style kind of slice. Eastern, the defensive slice, the one that Nadal uses, is good for its purpose, pretty much keeping the ball in. If you can control it, if you master it, you can control the height pretty good. But it's usually a slice that is, like I say, is good for the purpose of being defensive. It's good for the purpose of keeping that shot in. But you're not really gonna put your opponent in a lot of trouble. It's more something that is just gonna keep you when you're in trouble, when you're choking, when you just kind of lost a little bit of confidence on your backhand, or you really need to make a lot of shots in. That slice is good. It's good to pick up the balls that don't pick up too much, that are real low, it's a good slice. It's a slice that uses more because of this extreme grip. It has a little more curve for righties. If you slice it, it's got a pretty good curve to the right hand side. That's one good thing about it. Now, that defensive slice is not that good for, I would say, for the return of serve. Why? Because for heavy balls, the way you end up trying to get those balls up here, if you see my wrist there, it's kind of difficult to get that ball. You have to let that ball come to you really close in order to slice it, and you're not gonna have a very good control of that kind of shot when it's coming high. The aggressive slice, let's say the Federer slice, that one that goes more on bevel number 1 or 2, kind of in between, is more like a continental kind of slice. It's a little more aggressive. There are players that even go on bevel number 1, which is pretty much like an Eastern kind of an Eastern backhand, not as much as a backhand, but just kind of going between 1 and 2. And that slice, what it does is it works really well for return of serve, because the way you have the wrist, the way you get to that ball, difference to the Nadal slice that comes a little, the hand ends up in front of the grip too much. So in order to control those high balls, it's kind of difficult. This one brings the hand more on the side, so it's easier to make good solid contact with the ball and control those high bouncy shots. Is really good for the returns of serve. It's a slice that, if you master, is very aggressive. It's very the shot on the high ones, you don't get to apply as much slice to the ball, so it's not very curvy as a more defensive slice. But when you have the shot that are, let's say, from the chest down, that one you can really be a lot more aggressive, or probably from your head or your shoulder down, you can be a lot more aggressive. It's a slide that is a flatter ball, more in one direction, doesn't really curve much. But let's say when you have moved the other guy out of the court and you need to, let's say, go down the line, or you want to go cross court, but you have a pretty high ball, and you really want to be aggressive, thinking more of a shot that has a little bit more pace, of a slice that has a little more pace and not so much curve, the aggressive slice is good. For the low shots, it works very well as a shot, let's say it's probably 10-15 inches above the ground, above the court. When the ball is really low, you're gonna have trouble picking those balls up. Why? Because of the grip. That's when defensive slice is gonna work better. Why? Because it's easier to get that racket under the ball here. With this one, the racket is a little more difficult to get it. But as soon as the ball is a little higher, you can really go, what happens on that one is that you can really go sideways, and those shots that are just a little bit above the ground, like I say, 15 inches, and somewhere around probably your knee, let's say 30, 25 inches, a little higher, those you can really take advantage, because you go more diagonally shot. That's the one that Federer does, that it's a very aggressive slice that goes sideways. You know, it kind of has that side spin / underspin. That ball doesn't pick up at all. That is very, very aggressive. But for the same reason, it's a slice that's probably a little more difficult to learn to handle. I suggest that it's better to start the classic slice, learning with that one, and little by little you can go for the aggressive one. The truth is that the aggressive one, you don't use it for every single shot. I probably use it, I would say 70% of the time. But as soon as I see that I have a really low ball coming to me, I don't try to go for that one. I go for the classic, for the more defensive one, because it's easier to get the racket on there. And even with the defensive one, you will really make sure you want to turn sideways, racket here, see? And you don't really bring that racket back, as I show in another video. You don't really bring the racket back. All you do is, if you put the racket behind you like that and you just turn, that's it. So in that position, you just let the arm go. Just let the arm go to the side. And even with the classic, you know, with the Eastern grip slice, you can make that ball. You can put a lot of side spin on that ball. The only thing is that with that slice, with the classic slice, the ball is gonna pick up. If you don't master it, the ball can pick up a little more, can fly longer. So this is just something that I wanted to talk to you guys. I have done a video where I'm hitting both of them. I'm gonna show you when I can hit it out those balls, you know, at different heights, and especially the high ones. You're gonna see the aggressive slice is really good with that one. Shots that come kind of bouncy shots, and shots that come more or less at knee heights. Okay, all right, guys. Well, let me know if you have any questions, any suggestions, and remember, go out there. Okay, stay centered, be bold, and be perseverant. Thank you.